nice little setup, guys. Nicely lined up. So cute. I like it. Exactly, yeah. I was like, I like the detail. Respect that.
Okay. So this is Dragon Con number 2 for you. Mm-hmm. What brought you back?
An invite, basically. I had been really excited to be able to come back. I've been filming iZombie in Vancouver for the last few years, which is a little bit of a hectic trip to try to get here too. But yeah, we finished now, so I was really excited to be able to come back and see everyone and see the madness here. It's amazing. It's huge.
Wesley's turning over the floor, guys.
We're all just like patiently waiting our turn.
I was just saying, don't do more than 2 in a row.
I have a question. Were there any brains that you didn't get the opportunity to play but think would have been a lot of fun or interesting or challenge?
I used to think that in about season 4, and then basically every stretched part of my imagination, the writers had already kind of beat me to. I remember thinking like, fitness guru would be a fun one. That was my brilliant idea, and they were like, "Oh, we've already got that planned for season 5." So they were pretty across that. And over the course of 5 years, I can't remember how many, but it was something around 60 brains. So
Wow.
basically, you know, we were happy in some ways that like, I guess it could have spread. Other people could have been playing more brains, but we'd used up a lot of resources by the end of season 5.
Was there anything that the writers did where they sent Liz that you were surprised by?
Oh my gosh, taxi. Anything the writers sent me that I was surprised by? They pranked me one time saying that they know I'm a dog person, I'm not as much of a cat person. I'm changing now, guys, there's still room for growth. But I have met a couple of cats that I don't mind now. But we had cats growing up that were like not very nice. We weren't allowed to pet them. They were like very scratchy. Oh. So growing up, they weren't my favorite animal, and the writers found that out and called me and told me I had to play a cat lady and that I was going to be working with 17 cats. And I had this like phone call, and they were all hoping I was going to be a diva and throw down and say, "No, absolutely not. I'm not doing it." And instead, I was like, "Oh, I still need a job." So, okay, like, you know, 17, definitely, no more. Oh, okay. Anyway, they told me it was a joke in the end, and I was rather relieved.
That's funny.
So I have a friend who's dying for me to ask about your thoughts on the Christmas Prince movies that you've been in, and of course number 3's coming out. It's going to be a trilogy now.
Oh yeah.
Right. So.
Royal baby.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, what's it like to work on that project?
It's just been the most surreal thing where it was like a sweet holiday movie that just went nuts. I didn't know what was going to happen. So I've just been really grateful. Like anything that kind of keeps getting renewed, it's effectively like getting renewed as a TV series. So I'm just kind of in awe that there's a lot of those kind of movies that are out there, and for some reason this one's sort of something different. So it's just really, it's fun. You know, I mean, it's not rewriting cinema, but it's something like, I think a lot of the time right now we're getting a lot of bad news in the media a lot of the time. Not that that's actually any different to what has been happening, I think, forever, but we're getting inundated with a lot of negative media. So people want to watch something that makes them feel good. And apparently Queen Amber of Aldovia makes people feel really good. So, yeah, exactly. Load up the eggnog and get ready for another one, guys.
Yeah, Netflix had that little blurb. It was like, we've detected that somebody's watched this film like 50 times. Yeah, you know, who hurt you?
Oh, yeah, exactly. They had a few really good tweets about it.
Nice.
I had a friend who watched it 12 times over Christmas, and she was like, I don't know why I can't stop watching it. And I was like, so we've made it a tradition now at our place to watch the 1 and then the 2. So next year will be 3.
Yeah, it's like the new Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm pitching it as.
I like that pitch, actually.
We'll need the Hobbit standalone now.
That's right. Pull in a whole new fan base.
Who's going to be the Hobbit from Christmas Prince? Me?
yeah. I mean, you have the accent. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, exactly right.
I don't know. Elf, Hobbit.
Back into the, back to New Zealand and all the Hobbiton sets.
Yeah.
And Queen of Amber Valdovia back there. Have you got the Shire? That'd be nice.
All right, so what was your favorite brain? I know you've probably been asked this 1,000 times, but what was the most fun since you've ended the series out of all the seasons? What was your favorite brain?
It's too hard to really choose one. It kind of depends how I feel on any given day that I get asked. Right now, I feel like Dungeons and Dragons brain was really mainly because it was so communal. Some of the brains would put me in my own sort of experience in the show, and that was one that brought everybody together, and everybody got to have so much fun when I was on that brain and I was the dungeon master, and kind of they were almost on their own brains themselves. Like all the rest of the cast were bringing out these very heightened versions of themselves, getting to do all of the role playing and everything. So yeah, we had a really good time on that.
Can I follow up on that? D&D is just absolutely exploding all over the place. Do you personally play D&D?
We didn't have time when we were doing the show, really, just realistically. Malcolm Goodwin, who plays Clive Babineau in the show, is the one person who went to a campaign outside of once we finished shooting. He like, we all really enjoyed it, but he was like, I want to pursue this. But it took up like 6 hours, turns out, and we only have like one day to do our laundry. So that just didn't work out as being very practical at that time. But also because I travel so much and it's something you have to commit to regularly. So it hasn't happened yet, but who knows, maybe that's going to be my next chapter.
On the eating brains, I love the cooking montages. Were there any of those that you had any input on? And then what's the best and worst about all of them? I mean, whatever they make you eat in that process.
I had no input in anything. We had such a good writer's room, and yeah, I would suggest a brain or come up with an idea, and it was always like just small fry compared to what they had in mind. So a lot of the time I was also trying to come up with the characters each week, so I kind of didn't have much brain power left to contribute usefully anywhere else. So it was mainly all decided by the writer's room, and then we had a great chef called Juno who worked with us through the whole show and pretty much the whole show, and he would bring these creations to life, and they were always puns. They were always based on the example I give is like the episode that I'm on a white wrapper brain. There's like a white wrap that they're using like a tortilla that they're wrapping food in. So there would always be like, sometimes they're more obvious and sometimes not, but we always enjoyed those. And the food itself, the meal was normally really good, except for the brain part. That was always disgusting.
What did they use as the
Gelatin, corn syrup. They did some fondant when it was supposed to be harder, or they would
Delicious.
like all sorts. They ended up exploring, but it's really impossible to enjoy something that looks like a brain. So no, I don't recommend that part.
It's a signature restaurant opening up soon.
Exactly. Okay, keep me posted, right?
Actually, I mean, that
Well,
doesn't
yeah.
sound so bad. I actually would
You
go to
said
that.
that
That sounds
here, that would
great.
work.
Yeah,
Right,
totally.
Exactly. Maybe just for the con, I think. Dragon Con brain restaurant.
A pop-up brain restaurant. Y'all, let's make this happen next year.
Oh, that would
Totally.
be great.
Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll send it and we'll do it.
Hashtag it.
Hashtag it. Yes, pop-up brain restaurant. I'm sure people will be like,
Dragon Con 2020. Pop-up brain restaurant.
Yeah, yeah. You have to be there to cut the ribbon.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's a real possibility. Last night someone was cosplaying a little mobile squid restaurant and they were cooking squid.
What?
I saw that.
Oh my gosh, so we're now doing a pop-up brain costume. A pop-up brain restaurant costume.
All of us
Yes.
have to dress up like zombies.
Mhm.
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll take this.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Next year. I keep thinking I want to do a cosplay at one of these.
Please.
But what should I do? I'm like shy. These people are so good.
You should do, have you seen the Andrew Garfield one where he dresses up like Spider-Man
No.
for photos? You should dress up like Liv. And
But do a really bad job on the makeup.
oh my God, that would be so funny. And then
That
you
would
get
be
up
quite good.
and then you're just like standing in there and then you get up to the panel and they're like, oh shit.
Especially when you see these really good kids cosplaying, or like people of all ages, but particularly like these people who do all the YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
Like, how old am I, by the way? Like a grandma. Kids who do all the YouTube tutorials and they learn how to do face makeup, and they're so good. And I'm like, I would definitely be an inferior Liv at the convention, but maybe I should. Maybe that's good. Inferior Liv.
Or what if you
That'd
bring
be
your makeup
funny.
artist with you and you're like superb Liv and people are like, oh my God, she looks just like Liv Moore. You're like, surprise, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't need to bring her. fly it
That
up
would
on
be
camera.
somebody. No, doesn't look like.
It would be fun though, except I will tell you the one thing I don't miss from that show is the wig. It was not a great fit.
You can
ever.
you can see the wig get better as the seasons progress. Though the first
And
the
also,
first season,
yeah,
I was like,
depending on like any given week and how fast we were moving, and there are so many elements to it. They did a great job with trying to make it work, but it turns out like a white lace front wig with a revealed hairline is a really hard thing to do.
trust me, I know. I'm actually wearing one with a photo op with you
Oh, cool.
later. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Well, don't worry, there's no judgment here. I get it.
I do have a question though regarding iZombie, the end of it. So last year I interviewed Jessica Harmon.
I love Jessica Harmon.
She's so sweet.
much.
I love Richard too. Like
Yeah.
such a doll.
Talented family. Bosio and Babino are like my
One
My-
OTP.
my
OTP.
They're
Yeah.
my OTP.
So how do you feel that Liv decided to stay a zombie
No
with
spoilers, yeah.
I mean, you know what? It's been out. It's fine. People but with Major, like, is she
Not
stay?
out in New Zealand yet.
Oh, is it really not?
Yeah, New Zealand gets it about 6 years after.
Oh, okay, I see.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, well,
Yes, sorry, spoiler.
okay, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. Liv stays a zombie with Major, and do you think that Major's are they just friends now? Like, how does she feel that she's just staying a zombie, helping out these kids?
No, they're not friends. They're definitely together. They're married. They're actually wearing little wedding rings.
I did not notice that. Oh,
Spoiler for you guys, but I think I love kind of the journey of their relationship where I think there's something really special about being friends as well as being partners. And I know it was a rocky road to get there, and a lot of people got invested in a lot of Liv's relationships. But I felt like it's real, and they really know each other, and they know their flaws, and they know their strengths. And I was very happy about the decision for Liv to remain a zombie. That part I felt very strongly about, because the whole show to me is about she didn't really know herself before that, and this gave her purpose. And so to take that away, it loses the metaphor of supporting outsiders and people who don't feel like normal, or who haven't been made to feel normal by everybody else. So for her to suddenly become normal again, to me, would have been a real failure. And I like that I used to think of David Bowie a lot with Liv. Like, I listened to a lot of his music about just like celebrating what makes you odd. And so that would have been kind of very wrong to me, I think, if Liv had ended up becoming human again. And they needed her. It worked out perfectly because, I don't want her to stay a zombie just because, but instead she was able to actually be doing something for other people because of that. And they needed her.
I love that.
So now that the final season is here for iZombie, what's on your project slate? Can you talk about anything you're working on that's coming up?
I am, I'm not sure, I'm doing some theatre. I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about that yet, but I am doing some theatre, which I'm really looking forward to. I haven't done it in 10 years, and for me to be able to do a play again where you rehearse for like months is so exciting, because with Liv, and most of the jobs that I've been working on, it's so fast turnaround, and you have a week to come up with something, and then it's out, and then it's gone, and it's a new thing. And so to be able to kind of really analyze a play and it's going to be a very different experience, very challenging, really exciting. So that's kind of keeping me occupied at the moment. And then I directed a little short film as well. So I kind of wanted to shake up and do some off-camera stuff for a little bit too. I've been on camera for the last 6 years.
Ride On?
Nice Ride.
Nice
But
Ride.
Ride On's a good alt title.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pitching.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, what's the short film about?
I haven't actually talked about it at all yet. I kind of kept that one a little bit private just because it was my first experience doing it, and I sort of wanted to have to feel safe and be able to feel vulnerable in it without kind of sharing that with other people yet, just till I was working out how it actually worked and whether I felt competent in that experience. And I had a really good time. It's just kind of a small character study is all I would kind of say about it at the moment, but I worked with some really great actors and an incredible team, a producer, Marley Elfman, who's just a certifiable genius producer. So I had a really, really good time, and I'm looking forward to doing some more kind of creating material as well.
Thank you.
No,
Party going on next door. Feels like we're at Dragon Lodge.
Okay. I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on your character arc over the course of the show for Liv?
I would say that, like I mentioned, I feel like honored to play a character that was a freak and loved being a freak. Ultimately, she didn't like it to begin with, like I think most of us feel when we feel targeted or alienated. But she ended up using that to her advantage and finding all the strengths that came with that. It's a really unusual hero, and people say to me, what superhero would you like to play? And I feel like I played one. Liv's like the coolest superhero to me. She's
in a
very-
comic book, so.
Yeah, and she's real, and like, you know, as much as it's a silly comedy about zombies, it's like this very grounded person who is struggling with like a bit of an identity crisis, and ultimately comes out of this show, I feel like, knowing her identity, and that's kind of all we can hope for, I think, in life. So I feel very good about the opportunity to play her, and to play, often right now I think strong women are mistakenly kind of portrayed as tough, and that you have to be quite, like, have a very masculine energy in order to be a strong woman, and I'm just like, that's so limiting. This is a person who's able to be vulnerable and have masculine elements and feminine elements, and just be a complicated, real person. And I think that to me is exciting for girls to be able to look up to and see this person who she doesn't have to be tough. She can ask for help too, and that's strong. So yeah, I love playing her.
In what universe isn't Tinkerbell a superhero?
Great question. I always thought that is the one brain that I thought would be really good if Liv ate Tinkerbell's brain.
A little appetizer? Just
I know, exactly. Yeah, just a little one. Just a
Hors
tiny
d'oeuvres.
little morsel. When can you miss it? But I would have loved to do that. I don't think those universes could cross over, or who knows who owns what properties. I don't get how that stuff works.
I mean,
pitched
in
it,
fan fiction, anything can happen.
Exactly. I'm sure somebody's done a little Tinkerbell brain. I've got to track that down.
On that identity crisis, I mean, going in, you knew the premise, but how prepared were you for how much you were going to have to throw at? I mean, every week, it's kind of a dream for an actress, but at the same time, there's a lot throwing at you. Were you prepared, and how wrong were you by the end of that?
I had absolutely no idea, which was probably very lucky, because it could be very intimidating. Yes, it is a dream. It's like, you know, going into the sort of tickle trunk or whatever you call it. Do you guys know that word? Where it's like costumes. I think you do. Yeah, I think it's a Canadian thing. That's what they used to say up there a lot. But being able to go in and like pull out a different costume each week and play this different thing, it's really fun. But it is definitely an intimidating prospect. So I was quite happy that we moved so quickly. I didn't have time to think really, or get too intimidated by it. And yeah, I don't think they knew either going into it quite how much, because that wasn't something from the comic that was very heavily focused on, and it just became a device that worked so well for the show. And one other thing I would say is that we have been so supported by Chris Robertson and Michael Allred, who created iZombie the comic, and that has been just the biggest blessing, because when the person with the original property gets behind all the departures you've made from their material as well, and recognizes that it needs to work differently in order to work as a TV show, but still have the heart or some of the concepts from the thing, it's just been like such a blessing, and kind of rare by the sounds of things that it's championed by those people. So I'm very grateful to them. Crickets.
I have another one. I'll jump in, sorry. Did you get to keep anything from the set?
Ali Mishalka, who plays Peyton, secured the head that's on our mantelpiece, where it's like, I think it's like an Egyptian headdress, I'm not sure exactly, but it's green and white head that sat on Liv and Peyton's mantelpiece, and she took that for me, so it's sitting on my mantelpiece at home.
So cool.
I normally don't take too much from shows, because otherwise you can end up with like a museum of
Yeah.
a house, and I also feel a little self-conscious about that, like in my own home, being like, here's my head from my zombie. It's one that like nobody knows, so it just looks like a piece of art, you know.
I don't remember if anybody asked this. What is your least favorite brain?
The Archie Bunker kind of brain. It was like this very racist, bigoted. Season 2. It worked as an episode. It was good. It just turns out it's less fun playing an unlikable character. Who would have guessed, right? I've been so spoiled. I get to always play the sort of the person we want to root for, and that was not a character you want to root for.
That was funny.
All right, well, we can go ahead and wrap that up.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
It was so fun.
Thank you for your time.